Welcome to our Lent Reflections Day 28, On the Up, Stand Up. Ephesians 6:13 says, Therefore put on the full armour of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you've done everything, to stand. Over the past few days, we've been looking at how we can beat being down and get on the up. We have considered how we need to pray up, to show up, to speak up, and to grow up. And now we come to perhaps the most important, stand up. We are saved and called for a purpose, and we have to get on with fulfilling that purpose. I find it difficult when Christians are asked to serve and they answer, I need to pray about that. There's a tendency to believe we need to have more knowledge of the Bible before we can witness about Jesus. These answers are less about seeking God's will than looking for excuses not to say yes. Whilst I find these kinds of responses hard, it is more the fault of the church than the individual. The church in the Western world has, in the main, become a religious institution rather than the radical movement that the early church was. And as such, it tries to motivate people to get involved by piling on the guilt on those who are very busy, or by failing to release people because they are still works in progress. In a religious institution, we always need to check everything out and have the knowledge needed before we can launch out and do anything. This wasn't how Jesus taught his disciples to act. His instructions to the 72 were very clear and simple. He expected them to go in Luke 10. He appointed them, and so he anointed them. They went out, followed the instructions, and saw how God used them in miraculous ways. In the same way, Jesus called Philip, and he immediately went and shared with Nathanael. In both of these examples, they didn't need to pray about it or study some more. They simply went and did it. We are meant to be a movement of God's people, bringing hope to our world. I believe that each one of us has been called to minister to others and to share in the fulfillment of the Great Commission as detailed in Matthew 28. There are times when we have to say no to things, but at least let's be honest with one another and let our yes be yes and our no be no. That's Matthew 5:37. If our no is because we're too busy, we might need to reflect on our priorities. Is our time taken up with the things God made us for, or have we become distracted by the busyness of life? So today, will you be ready to stand up and put your faith into action?